Hi, hello, Jess here, and welcome to a special Halloween edition of Foxtails, the show where I make cocktails and call them Foxtails because I can. I bet you can't guess what today's episode is on. Or maybe you can. I thought it would be a fun video to make some classic cocktails, but base them off of horror movie monsters that everybody knows. So we've got Freddy Krueger, Jason, and as you can see behind me, Michael Myers. First of all, I'm gonna take this off because I'm right-handed and I'm not gonna be able to make drinks with these fingers. But let's talk about what drink we're gonna be doing for Freddy Krueger first. The Rusty Nail. Seems self-explanatory. These probably aren't well oiled and I would assume quite rusty. So I felt like the Rusty Nail was the best cocktail for him. Okay, moving on. How about Jason? For Jason, we're gonna be doing a Manhattan. And how did I come up with the idea of doing a Manhattan for Jason? Well, there is a Friday the 13th that is called Jason Takes Manhattan, where Jason terrorizes teenagers in Manhattan. So that's why we're making that drink. It's also a delicious cocktail, and knowing how to make it's not gonna hurt your repertoire of cocktail making abilities. And then the least known classic cocktail is one that I found called the Asylum. And as we all know, Michael Myers had been in an asylum and broke out and then of course terrorized and murdered everybody, kind of like everybody else that's being showcased here in this video. But the Asylum cocktail was made by an author, William Seabrook, who apparently was known for his dealings with cannibalism. And I felt like that added an extra element to the whole Halloween spooky vibe of the drink. So let's just get into making these drinks. So we're not gonna need these. It's just gonna get in the way. So leave that there. Okay, of course over the beanie. If I was like a horror movie villain guy, my thing, it wouldn't be the scream mask, it would be a beanie. I would be the beanie murderer. It makes sense. I wouldn't be very scary. You know, I'd be one of those like cartoon scary Halloween movies. Either way, let's get going. So all of these cocktails are very spirit forward cocktails. We're not mixing in any juices or any other things like that. It is all spirits all the time, which is why we're only going to need a mixing glass and we're not gonna need a shaker. A really easy way to decide if your drink needs to be shaken or stirred is, does it have juice in it? Shake it. Is it just spirits? Stir it. There's a little bit of wiggle room. Obviously, it's not like a hard and fast rule, but it's kind of the easiest way to know, should you shake it or should you just stir it? Let's talk glassware. We're gonna be using a Nick and Nora for our Manhattan because we're gonna be serving that up, which is a very common way of serving that. It can be on the rocks as well. And then we've got two old-fashioned sized bucket glasses here, one for the Rusty Nail and one for the Asylum. Other than that, all you're gonna need is some sort of mixing glass. You can get one of these fun crystal ones, or you can just mix in whatever you have at home, a strainer and a spoon. Let's start with the Manhattan. First, you're gonna add your ingredients and then the ice to cool it down. I did forget to mention you're also gonna need a jigger to measure your drinks. Especially with these spirit-forward classic cocktails, measuring out the ingredients is pretty important. All right, for the Manhattan, I'm using bourbon. I know a lot of people use rye whiskey, and that is the classic traditional way, but a lot of people use it with bourbon as well. So do whatever you want, whatever whiskey you like. Some people even use like Canadian and Irish whiskey, it's fine. So you're gonna go 2 ounces of that first. And the easy way to remember this cocktail is it's a 2-1-2. So 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. This is my favorite sweet vermouth. It's Carpano Antica, but it's not like the traditional one as well. I just really like it. So again, whatever sweet vermouth you like to use, and then Angostura bitters. We're gonna go with 2 nice dashes of that. Now that all the ingredients are in the cocktail glass, movie magic, we've got ice. So make sure you have a lot of ice in there, plenty to cover the liquid. And you're gonna stir. We wanna stir for a decent amount of time, a good 45, 60 seconds, because the whole point of stirring ice like this is to actually get water content into the cocktail, because part of the taste of the cocktail is actually watering down the booze and getting rid of that like kind of really hot flavor that comes with drinking straight alcohol. So this kind of makes it a lot more palatable and easy to drink. You can really take me seriously about my cocktail knowledge with this Jason mask on my head, right? Totally. So you'll see at this point, there's obviously a lot less ice and more liquid. That's because you've added a lot of water into this. Then we're gonna take our strainer and right into the Nick and Nora. There you go, Manhattan, boom. super easy, spirit-forward cocktail, super classic. You can add a cherry or a little bit of orange if you would like. Some people, I like it plain. There it is. It's a classic cocktail. It's delicious. I'm sure Jason would like it. All right, just do a quick rinse of your cocktail glass and we are on to the rusty nail. Now, I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory as to why I chose this for Freddy Krueger. The Rusty Nail is a very old school classic cocktail. It is scotch and drambuie. Drambuie is actually scotch with a bunch of different herbs and this like very special honey in it, so it's got this sweetness to it. And again, super easy cocktail. We're gonna be pouring the spirits into the mixing glass first, and it is 2 parts to 1 part. So we're gonna be doing 1.5 ounces of scotch and 3/4 ounce of the drambuie. Now, let's go add some ice. All right, we're back, and same thing, lots of ice. Stir that for about 45 seconds. I also grabbed a large cube to put into the bucket, because that's what we're gonna be serving this over. Grab your strainer, and we're gonna go ahead and strain that cocktail over the ice, like so. Boom. Rusty Nail that I'm sure Freddy Krueger himself would drink before murdering you in your dreams. It's very nice. It kind of takes some of the smokiness of scotch. So if you're not just like a scotch on the rocks drinker, it kind of adds a little bit of sweetness, but you still have that smokiness of the scotch, but it's still a very spirit-forward, fancy, old school cocktail. Okay, now for the Michael Myers Asylum drink. Now this definitely was a cocktail that I didn't know from my like 17 years of bartending experience. I had never heard of it, but I wanted to find a classic cocktail that worked for him and came across this one. Apparently it comes from some 1935 cocktail book that I tried to look up on Amazon to see if I could get a copy of, but it is like $3,000. So I didn't order that, but if you want to check it out, you know, that's on you. But the recipe was there nonetheless. So the name of the cocktail book is So Red in the Nose or Breath in the Afternoon. It's just a simple read. It's classic, easy to say. This drink calls for equal parts gin, equal parts absinthe or any kind of anise liqueur. I'm using the Pernod, and then a little bit of grenadine. This cocktail we're actually gonna build right in the glass. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of absinthe or this Pernod, 1 ounce of gin. Smells so much like black licorice. If you don't like black licorice, I can guarantee you you're absolutely not gonna like this cocktail. And just a dash of grenadine. Then we're gonna add some ice to this cocktail and stir. Maybe a little gentler than that, but you get the point. What happens is when you stir and the ice starts to melt, the drink gets kind of cloudy, the more water that's added. So adding a little bit of ice and water and letting it get cloudy is actually a very classic way of drinking absinthe or Pernod. And there you have it. This is a Asylum. It tastes exactly like boozy black licorice. I'm not a huge fan of black licorice, but I think that the cocktail is fun, and I could see why somebody who likes black licorice would really enjoy this. So if you're the kind of person that enjoys those very anise forward spirits, this one would be for you, and it's kind of fun. It has a good story. I had fun coming up with these cocktail ideas. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I also hope you enjoyed trying some of these if you haven't already, because again, they are classics. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified anytime we make drinks. November is next, Halloween is over, so we are moving straight into holiday season. So if you have any drinks you want to see, leave it in the comments below so that we can make sure to include those next time. I will see you later. Thanks for joining me. Okay, bye.